Good morning, good evening, good night, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Just Ask Char Advice channel. It's a TGIF affair around here, so stick and stay. Don't you dare go away. The show will start momentarily. Before the show begins, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about the happenings going on with the Gray Regime family. Starting on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, it is the Commander, Cerulean Gray, with correction and instruction. All your social, economic, and political ideologies you can find right here with the Commander of the Gray Regime, Cerulean Gray, Mondays on the Gray Regime YouTube channel. And moving on to Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, you can check out The Warrior, and I'm talking about Just DeAndre, each and every Tuesday, 6:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, right here on the Just DeAndre channel. It is called The 1/3 Show. My man brings you an eclectic blend of news and articles from around the world and back again, folks, right here on this same YouTube channel, each and every Tuesday, 6:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Just DeAndre, another one of those great warriors from the Gray Regime. Moving on to Wednesday, we got to leave the YouTube streets on Wednesday and head on over to Classic R&B Jams Radio. Starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can check out On the Beat and Keep the Beat. At 8 p.m., it is DJ Music and Char Willie with On the Beat, hitting you with some news and hot topics from around the world. Starting at 9:30, Char Willie takes off her talk show hat and slides into the DJ booth with Classic Ruby, where they play a blend of great music from the decades and have some great conversation about each and every song. And don't forget, folks, it's an interactive chat room down over there at Classic R&B Jams as well, so you can come twerk in the chat room, post a few gifs or a few memes, whatever you like doing. Just make sure you check it out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over there on Classic R&B Jams Radio. On the Beat and Keep the Beat. Soulful sounds all around town, ladies and gentlemen. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you're inclined to, please feel free to leave your financial contributions as well. And for those of you who would like your letter read on the Just Ask Char channel, please send all your emails to justaskchar@gmail.com. That's justaskchar@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is the star of the show, Char Willie.
Hello, TGIF, everyone. Ooh, happy Friday. Has it been a long week for you, like it's been a long week for me? Probably, but we made it. That's the main thing. We have made it. I hope you guys are doing well and keeping safe and ready for this change of weather. It was beautiful today. However, temperatures will be dropping. This is October, so get ready. Tonight we have a special guest, and I'll bring him right on so we can get started because, hey, time flies when you're having fun, right? It normally does. Welcome, Ram. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you today? How are you? Well, this evening, rather. How are everything going for you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Now, for you guys that are not familiar with Ram Wills, he's an author, and he also has content on YouTube. And I put all his information in the comments section, okay? Also, He used to be a guest quite often over on the BGS for Women channel. And for you guys that do not know about that or familiar with it, I used to host BGS for Women show for a couple of years until he retired the show due to harassment to his family. He said that was it for him, so he pulled the plug and that was it. So I started streaming here in February. So I actually can say to you, Rom, like you say in your videos, welcome to my spot. So I am happy to have you. Um, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
Been a little while. You got anything new going on?
Nothing really. I mean, people know me on the YouTube side, but I mean, I definitely have ROM TV. I do series over there, mainly more educational, but at some point I'm going to expand that to more entertainment style things and even other people on there. I'm always doing on-demand videos, and then I have a private site where I do monthly webinars. I actually bring people in to talk. So got a lot going on, and got to get over this writer's block I have. Got to write something new. Just haven't got started for some reason. I just haven't got the right project. So I'm gonna get some stuff going. You know me, I'm gonna stay busy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we used to review some of your books, and I think the last one we reviewed was Those Eyes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I still got to break a sequel off of that. Really, to get into writing, though, I had to cut back somewhere. I might have to cut back on YouTube, of course, because that's usually every day to really get into the writing. But I would still have all my stuff going. I'd still be on here. So, but it's just so much. Got teenage sons, doing the online learning for now,
right.
and got all this stuff going on. So, but the show goes on. So I'm here, ready to get started.
All right. Also, Classic Ruby, she has followed me here. She's been supporting me ever since I started streaming. Welcome, Classic Ruby.
Why, thank you. And hello, Ram. Nice to see you again. I'm glad you're here.
Nice to see you as well, Ruby.
I'm looking forward to your feedback on this one for sure.
Oh,
Definitely.
okay.
I always love your insight on stuff. So this is going to be
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
So what we'll do, we'll start off with playing some of Rom's video. Because when I was listening to it, I'm like, hey, that's what I say. But of course, it's coming from a man. So he's, he got that touch. He's telling the dude, hey, you ain't got to do all that,
Mm-mm.
stand up. So we'll play a little bit of his video and then we'll play the video that we'll comment on and then people be able to chime in as well. So let me pull that up. Let's see here. Men choose how women affect them. Here we go. Boop. Here we go.
The podcast. Men choose how women affect them. Men choose how women affect them. I hate to say that one twice. Understand something, because one of the sad things I see is men getting thrown off kilter because of what some woman did. Even if it's a woman that related to them or have anything to do with them. Like a lot of guys, whenever a woman does something like in a public figure, you get tons of videos about it. Tons of people have whole hangouts and everything, or live streams, just discussing what some celebrity woman did. I mean, seriously, be getting upset. I mean, seriously, if I were, to the point, if I were to sit back and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna go in on women, and I'm gonna find all these celebrity women and say what they did wrong. Shit, I probably have 250,000 followers. That's how deep it is. And women this and women that. Seriously, that's the one thing I've seen. Go in on women, get the followers. But I'm like, forget all that noise.
I think long term. So anyway, right? Because the thing is, whenever you deal with a woman in the real world, it's your choice on how you want to affect her. I don't give a shit what she did. Like for example, say you see a fine woman, you apply Rom's damn principle in a approach. She's probably an adjustable something. And you go up and you approach her and um, she's acting funky. Oh, in fact, let me give y'all a story. This is a story. This is like one of the few times I approach women. I've never been big on approaching women in the street, but I saw this one. She had a nice body. She looked nice. I approached her. I seen her around. I walked up to her and I was like, "Hey, how you doing? I've been seeing you around the area." And she was like, "Well, I don't be seeing you." I just smiled. I was like, "All right, you have a nice day now, right?" But then it's funny, right? That same woman, I would still see her around, but I didn't say anything. She looked at me like she wanted me to approach. And I was just like, whatever. But see, the lesson there is not what she did, but my reaction. Now, some other people might have got all mad and pissed and everything. And I've seen occasions when a woman rejected a man who tried to holler at her street, and then they say, "You's a bitch, you all that, right? You ain't all that shit." In fact, I remember my cousin, rest her soul, guys would try to holler at her on the street, and she was tall and very attractive. She would have had 1 million followers on Instagram if she was alive for it, right? But guys would say, "Well, I don't want to mess with you." And she would hit them back, be like, "Well, why are you talking to me then?" Oh man, I loved her to death. But here's the lesson from from my incident I shared. I didn't get mad or anything. I just laughed about it. Seriously. Every single man, you got a choice of how you want to respond to a woman. And you got power when you respond in such a way where no matter what she do, you just shake it off. You know how you just like brushing dust off your shoulder or something. You're like, man, please.
All right. So that gives you guys the mindset of Rom, what he's saying.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for
Shockingly, we're not that far off so far. No, like
and,
Well, let me say something about that.
mm-hmm.
And I mean, a man can't get upset. It's going to happen. Rejection's a part of life. It actually saves you some time. Every time, see, a lot of guys get too caught up over rejection, but if you're not compatible with the woman, it's better you find out right away. She's doing you a favor. Because of course, ladies, I gotta admit, there's some women out there who would take advantage of a man. And it's like they chasing and everything, but if she reject right away, just there, okay. Have a good day, saves you some time. And even then, regardless of what she does, the man has a way to respond to it. He can't get upset. He letting her upset his piece. He shot his shot, he missed. It's like, oh well, go on to the next. But don't get upset because once that woman moves on, she ain't thinking about you anymore. But you get some guys, shoot, they hitting me up or going online and they mad for weeks, months, and I'm just like, dude, there's billions of women in the world. So don't worry about it. And regardless, you still have a choice on how you want to respond. You can get upset or you can stay at peace. That's the key thing. Just stay at peace. It was just like, okay, you know, it's a part of life. Shit. Everybody ain't gonna like you. I don't care. You could be like that tall, handsome, model looking, built dude. Somebody ain't gonna like you. What you gonna do? Get upset when somebody say they don't? I was like, okay. So that was my main thing with that. Just stay calm. Men have to have control over their own being, no matter what. That's the ultimate in sovereignty, controlling their own emotions. Once a man can do that, he can move through the world with authority.
I concur. Okay, and the next video is a letter from a guy that went through a breakup and he's feeling numb, and I'll play that. Today I have a letter from a gentleman, and he writes, Dear Shar, I just went through a breakup with my ex, and my emotions have been raging. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes I just get stuck. I do miss her, and I wonder sometimes if she misses me. I realize that she does not miss me because when she texts me, she's only texting me to see if she received any mail to pick up. And that hurts. I try to find little things on YouTube that calms me down. The reason that I'm writing is because I need advice and I'm tired of never excelling in my relationships. I'm attracting broken people, and in the end of each relationship, the women find peace, and I'm left with a broken heart. In my last relationship, I was content with the relationship with my ex. However, she had an anger problem. Her anger problem led her to explode like the Hulk. Sometimes it can be something so little that she will blow up and she will not have any chill. I used to just shut down and ignore her because I didn't know how to deal with her, and I didn't know how to understand these blow-ups that she would have. Sometimes I assumed that she would just realize what she's doing, she would be sorry, and move on. Most of the times that did not happen. She just harvested those feelings and they became even more extreme. She would be angry because she would consider whatever's going on to be my fault, or she would be angry because there's some problem and I didn't fix it right away. Some of the times that she would blow up, it would be something as simple as taking a wrong turn on a road. It wasn't like we were in a rush or anything, but she would blow up and we would still make it to where we're going on time. Another example of her blow-ups, one summer, the refrigerator wasn't cold enough and I turned the knob up so the food and water would be chilled. However, what happened, some of the eggs became frozen in the pack and she just blew up. Another example of her blowing up is a time that she came to visit me. She had taken a plane, and at the time I did not have a car, but I was going to rent a car. The problem was I didn't have all the documentation that I needed because they didn't tell me when I booked the rental on the computer that residents cannot pay with a debit card, credit card only. When I got to the airport, I tried to explain to her why I did not have the rental, but I was still planning to get it. I just needed to provide the rental company with a copy of the plane ticket stub and present my card. She was so angry, she was not trying to hear anything that I had to say. It wasn't until I threatened to leave is when she had decided to calm down. I would overlook stuff like that, thinking she would get over it. We had great times in the beginning when we met, but in the end of the relationship, she fell out of love. I used to think that I understood her, but I realized that I didn't, and she had no respect for me. What I need at this time is healing, self-love, and figure more things out about myself. How do couples overcome their problems in relationships? How do they find people that's on the same page as they are? These are always things that I ask after a breakup. What are your thoughts?
Hmm. And I say something about that. All right. Okay. He's saying he was having all these problems continually with all these women. The only thing these women had in common was him. And it's interesting when he said, like with the last one, she
Mm-hmm.
calmed down when he threatened to leave. What's probably happening with that gentleman is he needs to become more assertive. He needs to become more assertive, more take charge, more like sit your ass down. Sometimes some guys will have that. They will have all people have that. All people, male or female, will run into someone who will cause them to bring something out in their personality. Because on a deeper level, relationships are about evolution of our souls. And that's a very important thing. So, like, let's turn this around to women. Like, if a woman keeps running into some lazy bum, she has to ask herself, what is it about her that keeps attracting them? It might be something enabling them. It might be something telling her she just need to choose better. But whatever it is on her. And that's the same thing with men. Sometimes they'll run into a woman whose purpose, spiritual purpose, is to bring out their manhood, that they need to take charge more. Or it might be to open up their heart more. It depends on the situation, or spend more time with them. It is always something. Or maybe they're controlling. Maybe they need to let go a little bit of control. Because some men might be, or women as well, might be controlling to the point that the other person can't grow, because the best reflection of ourselves is always who we mate with and even find attractive. There's always something about them that brings something out. But once we learn the lesson, we'll find the next relationship's a little bit better. We still might have to work on that issue, but not as much. And to get to the point, our relationships become positive because we've worked on every one of the issues. But we first have to recognize what is that issue. Because, like, going back to this gentleman, if she's doing all that, the argument should have been checked from the get-go. Because even when I was married, I can count the number of serious arguments we had on one hand. But good, and of course, there were some other things, but then even that was dealt with after the fact, but still. So it's like whenever you have somebody, you got to sit back, look at yourself. And especially if there's a pattern that's telling you something. And I'll say it for me. I know what my pattern is exactly. And it's something I'm still working on. So that's the thing. That is the thing. So if whatever your ladies have to add to that.
Well, I mean, I definitely agree. To add to that, I'll say that, dysfunctional people attract dysfunctional people. So if
Hmm.
every relationship you're in is with a dysfunctional person, it's because you're a dysfunctional person. And so the energy you're putting out is attracting, like attracts like.
Hmm. Exactly.
So, and now your dysfunction might not be their dysfunction, right? Your
Hmm.
dysfunction might be the low key, quiet. You think that you're so, easy to get along with and whatever. So you don't possibly see your dysfunction because there you attract the loud, abrasive, cussing you in the street kind of dysfunction. But it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that your dysfunction is functional.
Exactly.
So, and
Exactly.
right, and so that's why, when you said like taking that personal inventory, a lot of people don't know how to do that, or they don't know where to start to be honest with themselves. They know how to tell you everything someone else did wrong in their last relationship. They don't know how to tell you what they did wrong. They cannot identify. As far as they're concerned, they did everything perfect. The person they met was just crazy. Okay, was this a one off? No, I've had 10 girlfriends and all of them were just crazy and I was perfect the whole time.
Mm-mm.
Oh, really? That's
Mhm.
amazing. You are the most unlucky man on the planet. Or
Mhm.
you're
Let me
not
see.
realistic, right? And I think people
Exactly.
have a hard time doing that because we're not really told to look at ourselves and look for weaknesses or look for where we're failing or look for how we're wrong when someone's more wrong, right? Because only one person can be wrong in any situation. So if she's the most wrong, then you can't be wrong at all. Or it's like almost like you feel like if you admit that you went wrong somewhere too, then it's like justifying her, and that's not the case at all, right? Like identifying where you went wrong doesn't justify someone else's bad behavior and vice versa. It's just identifying like, oh, wait a minute, this is not a normal way of me thinking or going about things, or this is actually a weakness of mine that I need to work on. It doesn't justify someone else's bad behavior.
Yeah.
It just gives you a place for you to work on before you try to put your energy out there again to attract in someone new. Or you're just going to keep bringing in the same thing, having the same results, and then wondering why won't anything change for you, right?
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect, because one thing I always look at myself. I never say the other person did this or that. Now, I ain't started out that way, but when I was younger and I was like, well, wait a minute, what am I doing? And then some people would actually tell me. And like I said, it's something because we all got something to work on. I'm not going to act like I'm not on top of a mountain. I'm still climbing that mountain as well. I'm not the guru. So I'm still working on stuff to this day, and tracing stuff back to childhood, because we all got something that can go back to like childhood and our teenage years. And so that's the thing. And like I said, even to this day, it's tough. But I had to look at, okay, what was it I got? What was it I was doing? And everybody has something. I mean, but see, we got too much of a culture blame the outside. Oh, I'm perfect. Oh, I'm perfect. I'm perfect. I'm like, no, it takes two. If you're in a relationship, it takes two to tangle. And in fact, some of what you're doing could have caused that person to act bad. Yeah, they got their own stuff, but what you do is actually affecting them as well. Because that same person with another person who don't have the same thing would actually act differently. And see, we got to remember that. And now when I did that video, men choose how to respond. Part of that was, okay, what is it I'm doing? We got to make the choice. You got to look at me. She ain't just evil or anything. Because as I've told guys on my channel, that woman might be evil towards you or treat you wrong, but then somebody else, she's like, sweetness and pie and all of that, sugar and spice. I've seen it happen. I've literally seen a woman. I've seen women curse some dude out, treat him well, but then another dude come in and like, hey, and they be sincere too. Making him a ham sandwich and all of that. I was like,
yeah.
So it's like, okay, for the men and women too can actually use the same advice. It was like, okay, you gotta make a choice on how this person gonna respond to you, and you gotta see. Because I noticed with myself, like ladies respond to me when I'm in a certain way, but then have a problem with something else. And like I said, that's something I'm working on, because we all have our demons.
Agreed. What I normally do, which I have the link in the chat room, because I give my advice in the letter. And I do have more men writing than women, I must say. I don't know if it's a trust factor. I'm not for certain. I really don't know. But I don't tell all in the video because some stuff is just a little too private. And but I do tell the person, I respond back to them and give them a little bit more than I give the listening audience.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I want to address that issue you said about men. That's one thing we have out here. More men need help than is generally acknowledged. Because even when I wrote my book, Nice Guys and Players, I had to be convinced to write it. Several men had hit me up because I had some stuff out for the ladies, like particularly this pamphlet called Finding a Good Man. But men came up and said, hey, we need something. We need something. I was like, because at the time, all of my peers were like serious players. So I was like, I didn't have a concept of, I knew there were men who had trouble, but, knew it intellectually, but still, and I had talked to somebody in order to put out the book, and I had definitely made some observations. and
Mhm.
everything. Because when people ask me, then I said, okay, let me look around, see what's up. And then I was like, oh wow. I mean, and that's the thing, because the thing with men, a lot of times we're supposed to be tough and cool and everything. That's supposed to really show our emotion. Now, yeah, in general, we're more logical and rational, but we still have that emotional side. So I'm not surprised they hitting you up, asking a woman whose voice they trust. Seem you have a great energy to you, just to say, hey, I need some help here. Because the
Mhm.
same dudes maybe around their boys say, man, just go get you another woman. Even the guys telling them the information to be like, going through their own trouble. But that's just something we have to work on. And it can be,
Mhm.
and it's not weakness to say we need help. We all do. We all
Well,
do.
you know
Even
what though?
myself. Well, hold on, let me finish
Sorry, go
this.
ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
even myself. Oh, there's some people, if I'm having some issue, I'm hitting them up. So that's all I had to
Mhm.
say. But go ahead, sis. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I've actually literally, maybe not exactly word for word, but I've heard this story actually from countless people in this sector of YouTube. I really actually have some scenario of this, which is I was a good dude. You know what I mean? I treated her well and she was horrible to me. Right. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard this from content creators, from people getting on people's panels, but unfortunately, I think that the response that they get is not helpful. They're supposed to take it as helpful, which is, oh, forget that, or all women are crazy, or, women ain't shit, or, just something that just kind of really brushes off the issue almost and doesn't
Mhm,
address their specific thing. It's like, well, if there was an issue, or if you find this issue countless times, oh, women are only good to guys who are players and pimps. Women are only good if you got money. Women are only good, and so you just get the same kind of, like, they could get that advice from just listening to, a few videos around here. But, obviously they feel like just listening to the generalized advice isn't
mhm,
hitting on all the spots that they need. Maybe they need something a little, maybe they realize that it's not just her. Because if it was just her, they would just go find a video to say, don't worry, it was all her, it wasn't you. I think he knows. And so the best way of getting an answer, I think sometimes that isn't just, well, it was all her, it's not just you, is to go to a woman's voice that's trusted, not one of the ones who she's gonna turn around and be like, man, what you doing wrong? You must be doing something wrong for her to be acting back. No,
mhm,
we don't want that either, right? We want someone who's going to listen and be like, all right, here, this might be something else that's going on besides, if it's not just her, if you're not just literally looking for the craziest person in the crowd and saying, you know what, I probably can't get better, so I'm going to take that chick because she probably won't say no, because you might be doing
mhm.
that. If you're doing that,
Yeah, it
stop
could
that.
be.
Right? But I mean, it's short
Yeah.
of that. If that's not what it is, everything seems rosy at the beginning. She's not a gold digger. It's not all the things that people have listed, and yet somehow you keep running into this problem. Well, then you need someone who can be a little bit more, objective
Mhm.
about it. What are other things? And sometimes the best place to go for that is an objective woman. Just gotta
Oh
say.
yeah, no, no. Sometimes it is. I mean, I've had women come to me for information, advice, and I learned a lot from women. I've told them because they telling me they seeing me the same way other women will, and they've taken me to the side. That's why I've told people, and I'm serious. I've never really been played in my life.
Mm,
Never been
mm,
played. Like some minor stuff, which some women told me to avoid, but I was being a knucklehead. But
mm,
and that's not bad, but nothing where my bank account's been emptied or I was in serious emotional pain. Now I've
right.
had some breakups, I've had some women roll from me and stuff, but in those situations, I said, okay, what did I do? Was I
Mm-hmm.
honest with myself? I had to look at it. I had to take that power. And the situations, I looked at it and say, hold up, I really wasn't that interested in. She was just something to do anyway. I was just going along with the flow. Or
Mm-hmm.
it was, I don't know. I wasn't spending enough time with her. Or I was so with her. I always looked at what I did, regardless of what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing because I want to control over it. Because if I'm saying, here's my thing, my big thing is sovereignty. If I'm pointing to women and say it's them, then I don't have any power. They have power.
Mm.
I want the power because I said I can control what I do. Because she didn't hold a gun to my head to have sex with. I mean, she was fine and everything, but she didn't hold a gun. Or if she started treating me wrong, I had the ability to stop it right there. I didn't have to deal with it. I could have walked away or just say, okay, and I've done that before. I've looked women in the eye and say, you know what, we really not that compatible. I've been calm about it, but see, that was my thing. Now, if I'm gonna be with a woman and she doing all this crazy stuff, that's me. That's me. I'm putting up with that. Women didn't hold a gun. I mean, a lot of these guys who get caught up with some of these bad women, that women didn't hold a gun. I mean, and you always have a choice. I'll use an example. Now, me and my co-parent, we get along very well. Get along very well. Now, a lot of people, a lot of men are complaining about women child support and all of that. I officially don't pay child support. My kids need something, even she needs something. I say, yeah, here, but we're not going through the courts. But what I did was just look at the things I did. And even when I was younger, that's what I got into. Like if I would break up from a woman or she rolled from me, I might give it a few times. Then I reach out to her and say, look, just be straight up with me. What did you see? What was I doing? Whether or not, regardless of what I thought she was doing, I just wanted the perspective. And when I saw that, oh, okay, don't do that again. It's that simple. But I had power because I am very much, I don't know, good or bad, that's a part of my personality. I want to have control over my part of the situation. I can't control another human being, but I can control my reaction to what she does. And then of course, if I'm dealing with some woman who's on some crazy stuff, I gotta ask myself, why was I even aroused by her? Seriously, I can't speak for other men, but it's more than just physicality for me. So if I'm dealing with that woman, it's like, okay, what was it about me that even chose to deal with the woman? And there's been some times it's like, oh yeah, she was just easy. Okay, wrong. You can't do that, or she's showing some real interest and I'm just going with the flow. I had to learn not to do that. I had to be conscious. And that's why I'm saying every guy has to do that. Stop blaming and stop arguing because the women, look, ladies, good and bad, y'all gonna do what y'all gonna do. And I would tell the ladies, good or bad, men gonna do what they gotta do. But you got a choice on how you deal with them and if you want to deal with them. And that's, everybody got to take responsibility for their own parts, no matter what.
Facts.
So true. And I just wanted to say testosterone is a hell of a drug. Welcome to the panel, Vonda. How are you?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Hey, Ruby. Hey, Rom. This is my first time ever being up here with you. But okay. Now, I know we have all heard the saying that it takes two to tangle, right? Now, there were some things that were left out of the letter that, we are not privy to with regards to what drew him to this woman in the first place. Now, I'm going to tell you, and maybe you can, attest to this, Rom, but men are attracted to physical beauty.
Oh, yeah. No excuses. That's who we are.
So initially, I'm just going to just put out a scenario. Maybe this woman was very attractive, and sometimes men can't get past that. And this woman may have displayed some of these negative behaviors very early on in the relationship, but he kind of overlooked it and pushed it to the back because she was so pretty or because the sex was so good. Okay. And it just got to a point where it started to wear on him because she was very disrespectful to him. And he finally admitted that when reading the letter, Char, he said that, she didn't respect me. When you're with an individual or a woman that does not respect you, it's done. Get out. go the other way. There is nothing that you can do to salvage that, because each time that something happened and he kind of pushed it to the side because, oh, she's so pretty. I just, she's prettier than anybody I've ever been with. That gave her more power in that disrespect for that man.
Well, let me add to that. In my circle, when we joke around, we be talking about like some dudes be talking about some women or something that was crazy or doing some stuff that's obvious, but we'll joke around and say she had a fat ass though. It really is you 100%, because, and I've told men that. I was like, yeah, she's physically attractive, but you better find out what's on her mind. You better find out what's on her mind. But a lot of guys, especially when they're younger, they just caught up in that physical. They are caught up in the physical beauty. And I've always said it's like when y'all look at it, y'all looking at every little thing, how we dress, how we carry ourselves, even like how we worship God, social class, and all of that. And we just still looking at your body.
Yep.
And I've told men that. I said, look, okay, fine, that gets you over there. But if you're a smart man, you better find out what's on her mind. And I'll just say for myself personally, just like y'all will say, see a guy, he real fine, whatever you like physically, but he say some dumb stuff. Like I say, he's already till he open his mouth, or even to the point of saying instant dryness. My joint goes back to sleep if I'm talking with a woman and the personality energy ain't there. It was like, man, wake me up later. I don't care what she look like. She could be a video model or Instagram model, but if that personality, that spirit isn't there, I don't deal with it. Unfortunately, a lot of men, and I've talked to men about this, haven't reached that level. They just concerned about what she look like physically, and they'll get in trouble with it instead of saying, hold up. The physical, okay, fine, that gets you over there, but you have to click emotionally. I got to have a clicking personality.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to have something in common. And at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, the beginning of the relationship, there has to be a mutual respect. And I think a lot of times that respect is not there. But like, I said before, individuals will tend to overlook that because, but he's so fine or she's so fine, and that's what's going to get you into trouble. There's nothing wrong with, liking pretty things. You can like pretty things, women like attractive men, but, for women, it's the totality of things. It's, his looks, how he carries himself, how he behaves, how he treats her, how he treats other people. They look at the whole scope. And when you have actually, been very shallow and you just went for a guy that was just good looking, you end up in a bad way. End up in a bad way. And, some women can probably attest to this. I like a nice, good looking man. And I've seen some men that were, good looking. And I'm like, oh, wow, he's really, really good looking. And then he opened his mouth. I'm like, oh, God. Major turn off. It wouldn't matter what his pecs could do. It's like, oh God, you run the other way. It's just a major turn off. It has to sync up on both levels. For me, it does.
Oh no, that's it. That's women, period. And I tell guys that. I've constantly told it because I'm known for preaching about the body game and everything. A man getting his body right, getting his appearance right. But I specifically said that's bait. You still got to have a conversation. Believe it or not, I've had arguments with guys over that one, but I say, look, you still got to talk. Your personality still got to click. That other thing is just to get her over there, to get her, or if you're approaching her, to get her to pause for a second. Even a professional white model said that on a video. He said, looking good just gives you another 40 seconds. You still got to talk to him. So,
exactly. That's true.
And that's the important thing. And that's why I say, yeah, you want to hit the gym, but then you need to actually practice talking to a woman and then see if your personalities click. Because I've seen a lot, I'm going to tell you what, I've seen some guys messed up because they were just caught up in the woman's physical beauty. I've seen them, I mean, seriously, I've seen so many guys who didn't make it, didn't do anything, because here's the thing with a lot of guys, they're not chasing real women, they're chasing icons. what people in my small circle call icons. That's the image of the perfect 10, you know, the dime and everything. But they're not thinking about, okay, is she really good for his personality? Because there's a lot of guys that'll get that perfect 10, but she tear him up. She got a bad heart, and she'll leave him for broke or whatever. So I tell men, hey, talk to that woman, see what's up with her personality. You know, even take your time with her. Don't be in a rush. You know, don't be in a rush. So, but unfortunately, a lot of guys are getting caught up with it. I'm still talking to them, and they'll say, "Oh, Ram, you old," but I done seen it, so I'm trying to keep them out of trouble. You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you have experience, you know, you have the wisdom. You could see it. You're like, "Uh-oh, be
Mm-hmm.
careful." But
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for people to hear that. They have
Yeah.
to, as some of the older people say, they got to get their head bumped.
Well,
Well, it's
that's it.
because the men, even though men will say, women, you can't think like a man, right? They forget that women don't think like men.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, right, having a beautiful woman who's a 10 or whatever, right? Like that's enough, right? And so they don't understand that, on the flip side, that just couldn't possibly be enough, right? And I think it kind of goes that way sometimes in dating, where they think to themselves, well, if they would be enough for her, then, or if she will be enough for him, then he should be enough for her. Or, well, hey, listen, if I act this way in the first 30 days and I'm still acting like that on day 31, that's how I'm going to be with her. So therefore the woman, if she's still acting like this on day 31, then this must be how she's just going to be, not realizing that beautiful women and beautiful men are trained by society differently, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and that's what it comes down to. Society starts training beautiful women before puberty, honestly, that they don't have to have personalities. They don't have to be nice to people. They don't have to treat people well. They don't have to be intelligent. They don't even have to have basic manners. And the world is still going to give them everything. They're trained by society this way. So
Mm-hmm.
when you see that, that perfect 10, even if she's being nice to you in the first like 3 dates, the first 2 weeks, you're like, oh yeah, no, that's it. I'm ready to give her anything. Well, society trained her differently than it trained the beautiful man that you know. So while he's a player, but someone can capture his heart and he'll settle down and and he'll do this and he'll do that. Beautiful women are not the same. When you're talking about perfect 10s here, you're talking about those women that you normally see on the arms of, ballers and whatever. Even honestly, even when it comes to being with the baller guy, they're not that nice behind closed doors. They just take really
Mm-hmm.
pretty pictures, right?
That's
Are
true.
you
That's
right
true.
now, are you a baller? Because if you're not a baller, so you can't give her the lifestyle, you can't give her the clout, you can't give her the reputation in high society, you can't give her nothing the baller can, right? Do you think that she's going to treat you better than the average baller is getting treated by these dimes that you've been idolizing your whole life? Because you hear about the bad behavior even from them. You hear about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know it's there. So why don't you think it exists? Like, I'm not trying to be mean to the perfect 10 girl. I'm not. I'm just saying that those aren't wives. They're
Mm-hmm.
normally not wives. And when they do marry someone, it's not to be a wife, right? It's to marry into something and
Yeah.
produce some children. And that's more like a financial investment and
Yeah.
a social investment than anything. If you're looking for a woman who's going to invest in you and love you and treat you well and show you respect and whatever, you're probably not looking for the chick who wakes up looking like a perfect diamond, goes on the street and somehow makes herself a 12, right? You're not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not realistic, right? So it's like, I think a lot of people sometimes need to adjust their expectations
Mm-hmm.
between what the full package really is, because it doesn't exist, right? The woman who is literally perfect and flawless with no pores and perfect body, no cellulite and all that stuff, that doesn't exist anyway. But let's say it did, right? That doesn't exist with with an amazing personality, complete fidelity, and just looking for the regular average Joe Blow to love her. That doesn't exist. Okay, it doesn't. Like,
No.
adjust your expectations. Just saying.
Well, I've even said that to men. I was like, just be realistic out here. I mean, because you have to look at the total package. Yeah, I understand you want it to be attractive and everything, but we've used the term adjustable, or like, yeah, I can fix up. Yeah, I can fix up. Your man has to look at the entire picture. Is that woman an asset to him or a liability? No, she might not look like that perfect 10, but she might have that. She might, first of all, she ain't gonna be. It's hard for a woman to be just ugly out here. I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that there's a lot of stuff going on with the woman if she comes off as ugly, because y'all can fix yourselves up, and if you have a great personality, you'll keep yourself in good shape, and you look good, and your personality actually makes a woman look beautiful just from smiling and everything, being pleasant, because y'all bringing peace to a man. But that's realistic for a guy because he has to think long term. He's not trying to impress everybody. He has to be with that woman who's going to be cool with him, even on down days. That type who will whisper in his ear, "Baby, I know you got this. I got you," and everything. But also, she's doing something. She ain't just a wallflower, but she got her things that she's doing, and y'all can mutually support each other. See, we have to look at relationships holistically. Yes, the physical part is there, nothing wrong with that, you know, but also the spiritual part, the mental part, the emotional part. We have to look at the whole picture. And a lot of people are getting away from it. They want the superficial, the shallow. But nah, you got to get past it. The shallow, that just gets you over there. But you got to
And
like
I
just
think that's
deal with
what
each
he should
other.
be looking at too. He should have been looking at, okay, when did, she first display some of this meanness? Because he said she was mean. So, or she was angry. That's what he said. She was
Mhm.
angry. When did she display this? You know? And if he didn't check her the first time out the gate that she did it just, crazily,
Mhm.
and all he did was just guarantee it was going to happen again. And the next time it happened, it
Mhm.
was going to be even worse than the first time she did it.
Mhm.
All the way
Yeah.
to a
Yep.
point where he's reached a level that he's like, she doesn't respect me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mhm.
so funny. I mean, not funny, haha, but the way you read the letter, Shar, I could hear his voice. I was like, dang, I felt sorry for the dude. She didn't respect him.
Nah.
Yeah.
You know why I didn't feel sorry for him?
Oh.
Because no, I didn't.
Here's
Because
Ruby.
no, because I agree with you, Vaughn. I heard his voice too. But see, it brings me back. I'm so glad you said that because I wanted to address this as something Ram said earlier about wishy-washy men. All right. So here's the thing, right? Even the nicest, okay, I'm assuming you like this woman because she's, at least moderately attractive. She had a decent personality. She was sweet. Things were good at the beginning. As you said, that means overall, your overall satisfaction with her was good. That means she was being a good woman to you. So maybe wifey material. She was reasonably attractive. Sex was decent. Everything was good. And then she got mean. Here's another factor. So now, if you're wishy-washy and weak and just like, listen, nothing can boil the blood of a otherwise decent, good woman. Because remember, Ram, you're saying like, hey, she could be acting one way with one guy and then another way with the next. I'll tell you, a woman who decides she's gonna invest in you, right? And she's got
Mhm.
blinders on at the beginning too. So she's thinking, all right, well, once we get serious, he's gonna stand up, right? No, normally people don't change like that. But
Mhm.
we silly too. So okay, yeah, he's gonna stand up. He's gonna start being firm. He's gonna lead. And so we got all excited about this concept. He's gonna be a leader and he's gonna be caring and compassionate and all those other good things he's got going on. But he's gonna stand up and stop being a wishy-washy like wuss, right? And he's gonna lead me. And so when you don't do it, right, nothing can turn a nice woman mean faster than a wishy-washy turned into a doormat man. I'm telling you, because the thing is, right, is no woman on the face of the planet wants to be in the position of wanting to have a functional relationship, which involves a strong leader, a strong head of household, which is not her, um, and then be forced into the position of a wishy-washy, spineless dude who's scared of his own shadow and clearly of hers too, and don't want to make no decision and don't want to lead her nowhere. So in essence, then, unless she takes over and becomes the leader, well, then they're going to spin around in circles indefinitely. So now, right now, she should leave at that point. But of course, she didn't leave. Right? Just like we said, he should leave, but then he didn't. So now you're going to stay there and you're going to try to encourage him. You're going to try to tell him he's not hearing you. And so what happens now? You're getting madder and madder and madder, right? You know why I thought this? I thought this because of some of the details. So for example, you didn't know. See, I hate hearing that answer. I didn't know. Was it information you could have found out? Well, the people over the phone didn't explicitly tell me. Wait, what? So you didn't ask these questions? You didn't ask. You didn't make sure all of your I's were dotted and all your T's were crossed. You didn't do it. But the information was there. If you had asked them and given them the information, they would have been able to tell you over the phone even, but it was on the website because you didn't do your research. And then you're going to blame it on someone else. Right? Now, see, that to me, that's one of those things. And he mentioned a few of these things. And I'm like, hold on. Now, I would be a little bit frustrated at, the one-off occasional of this happening. But if it's a pattern of behavior, this is how you handle life, right? Well, they didn't tell me, baby. I didn't know. Well, I thought I knew, but excuse you? Hold on. So what are you going to just lead us off a cliff? And then as we're all plummeting to our deaths, being like, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't know. The sign said drive forward. It never saw a stop sign, so I didn't know to stop. You didn't see the cliff? Right? Like, I mean, and I think we got to recognize sometimes, right, that especially if we go back to this idea of finding like a really attractive woman, well, you know what? Really attractive actually really likes a lot of testosterone, which includes a lot of, typically male traits, which includes that leadership, which includes that kind of, dominant, authoritarian type of persona, which includes the ability to, I don't know, not lead you off a cliff or not say, well, no, someone else didn't tell me, blaming it on someone else, So that could be a thing too within this scenario. So that's why I don't feel sorry for him, because I feel like this is a matter of, he's got to build up some confidence in himself and in his ability to kind of handle the details of life and step up. When he's going to step up and take care of something, he's really going to take charge, do his research, look into things, dot those I's, cross those T's, and, make sure things are handled. Before he gets himself into that kind of relationship where he wants to, have a good relationship. He wants to be the leader. He wants a woman who's going to submit to him. He wants all of those things. But if a woman's going to submit to you, put all her trust in you, then you have to be trustworthy. And you can't keep dropping the ball and say, well, but baby, I tried. Someone else didn't tell me all the answers I wanted to know that I could have found out by asking. Right? So yeah.
So it sounds like inherently he just does not, have these skills, within him, because
Right.
I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, a woman does not want to lead a man. Now, a woman is going to lead herself, because I be damned if I'm going to be, led into a burning house. Not going to happen. I will not follow a fool, and that's where the strength of a woman comes from. Because if there is no leader, no male leadership, what is she to do? She's left her own devices and she has to figure it out. And it has to be right. And it has to work for her. Now, if she gets with a guy and, she's expecting him to like put his foot down, and she says some, crazy mess to him. And in the back of her mind, she's like, I want him to stand up to me. And he just goes, oh, whatever you like. And she's like,
right.
What? She's like, what?
Right. Facts.
Like, wait a minute.
Facts. Yes.
She's not looking at, but at the end of the day, people are going to take advantage of your weaknesses, may it be on purpose or just based on the situation. And so he kept himself in that situation. He did not, put his foot down when it came to her in these antics, because the whole situation with turning up the refrigerator and the eggs freezing, my man would have said, if you don't shut up, the egg froze. Chill out. That's nobody's fault. We need a new refrigerator, but that was his fault. And he felt like, okay, I'll thaw him out. I'll sit on him,
Sit on.
I'm just like, okay, really? To me, that was so unreasonable. That was unreasonable for her to be that upset about. But that could be 1,001 things that she done had to deal with this man who won't stand up to her. Now, it's his fault, for not standing up. But I mean, she did take advantage of the situation, but that's what people are going to do. They will walk all over you if you lay on the ground. True. They will wipe their feet on you if you stay down there. I can't tell you how many times, I spoke about a situation, where my husband checked me in front of my entire family. And because of the respect that I have for my husband, and I'm telling you, I wanted to say something. I wanted to go against him. I wanted to fight, and I wanted to defy him. But what he was telling me was right. And in my heart, I knew it was right. And I respect my man. So I said, I'm not going to say anything. We'll talk about this later. In the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, we'll talk about this later. But I'm not going to cause no fight in front of the whole family. But he literally checked me in front of my entire family, and nobody said anything. And I just kept my mouth shut and quote unquote did what I was told in that instance. Now, I'm not saying, and he was not disrespectful. He was not rude. He didn't treat me bad, but I wanted to be belligerent. I wanted to be belligerent.
Girl, I want to be belligerent now, just listening to your story.
You ain't got no right to be checking me. But I'm like, no, he was right. And I'm a very reasonable person. So it's like, dang. All right. So I acquiesced. I just let it go. And I was like, damn. And I'll never forget that. I'll tell that story until the day I die, because I'll never forget that moment, because he was like, and he didn't even raise his voice. But he just literally just checked me, and I was like, dang. I'm like, okay, do I, hold my head up high, and I just, take it like a woman. And that's what I did, because I was wrong in that situation. And I didn't want to make it any worse, but I respected him. Now, this woman did not respect this man, so she would have cussed him out in front of her family, the neighbors, and the grocery store. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Right. No, you're right.
But ladies, what y'all saying though, because I've heard a lot of ladies say that, a lot of tough-minded ladies, and like I knew this one, it was a woman, I was on a panel with her for this like a relationship type of gathering, and she said the man she had was able to tell her to zip it, and she loved it to death, because she was very outspoken. She challenged people and everything, but her man would be like, zip it, and she'd be like, okay. That respect thing is very important, and that's one thing with men. That's why I say men can't put up. We have a choice on how we're going to allow the woman to affect us. We have to stand up. We have to stand up and be men with respect, though. With respect, we don't have to be like cursing you out or anything, but with respect. When we see something wrong, we need to say it. We need to say it right there, and we can be very calm. But we can't just go along to get along, because how y'all going to feel protected by that man? How y'all going to feel secure with that man? Because if y'all can run him over in y'all minds, y'all thinking, well, the world can run him over too.
Right. No woman wants to run her man. I guarantee you that no woman wants to run her man. She really doesn't. But if he's not man enough to stand up to her, then there's going to be some problems.
Yeah, but what? To me, it's more than that, though, right? Because see, okay, so for example, I'm a person, I very highly self-monitor myself. And the reason why is because I don't like to be in the wrong. And the reason why is because I don't like to have to apologize to people, right? I don't. It makes my whole entire soul hurt to be in the wrong. I hate it. I hate the feeling. I hate the guilt. I hate the shame. I hate it all. I hate it all. You don't understand how much I hate being in the wrong. So I highly self-monitor. But that being said, right? You know, we all know we have off days, off moments, you know, things are going on in our lives, whatever, right? And then something happens and now you in the wrong. You got to go deal with all that. And of course, someone in the room tried to check you at the time. And who the hell are you? You ain't my mama. You can't tell me, right? So now you just made it worse, right? Now you have to go live with all of that until you try to make it right. But you can't make it right because you already acted out. Okay, here's the thing. So for someone like me, right? A man who can evaluate, because it's not just someone who's going to tell me to shut up or to be quiet or stop talking because he feels like it or he's in a mood or he's in a way. No, someone who's evaluating situations, understands me, sees where my next words are about to go, and knows when to selectively silence me because the next words out of my mouth are about to lead down a road we don't want to go down. Especially I don't want to go down. No one wants us to go down. See, that to me is invaluable. There's no amount of money that I would trade for that quality. And so to me, right, a man, it's not just a man who's willing to tell you to stop talking. I mean, maybe when you're younger, right, because you don't understand, you know, just the guy who's willing to stand up to you is like, oh, but when you're a little bit older, right, it's about leadership qualities, because I want to know that he can stop the train wreck before it starts. I want to know he's been paying attention to me in the whole situation, whatever, without even needing to be in it. And he knows when he needs to put a hand on my shoulder and be like, baby. And I just know, all right, it's time to shut up now. You don't have to say anything else because I already know. I know his mannerisms. He knows mine. All right. Because not only if he could do that with me, right? He could do that with himself. Obviously, he's going to be able to do it with our children. He's going to, you know what I mean? Like it tells me right there that he has the ability to accurately assess situations and you know, predict, you know, okay, what's going to go wrong, what's going to go right, how to stop something from going wrong, how to make things go the best possible avenues. Because to me, that's a great predictor of success in every type of relationship, you know, and just in the future in general, as far as, I don't know, business, whatever, other family relations, anything, right? So
well, not only that, Ruby, the fact is that he has to know who you are. Like you just said, you can't just come and tell Ruby to shut up.
No.
You have to know.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You have to know the gist of where Ruby is about to go. And you have to know how to circumvent and deal with Ruby. So that comes with your relationship with that man. And he knows how to deal with you in your way. And you respect how he deals with you, because you know that he's going to think about a situation before he reacts, and he's going to act appropriately.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, ladies really brought it, but no, everything y'all saying is correct. It really is.
You're a little rough, Ruby. Just a little rough.
Yeah. A man just got to know what you got to be a man when he's dealing with her. That's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Everybody got their mission in life, so everybody got whatever their personality is. So
hey, now, y'all listen. I feel like way too much is being attached to my previous statements. So let me to clarify.
I'm teasing you.
No, for real. No, but that's the thing though. I'm a very, I mean, obviously I'm a very outspoken, opinionated person. Obviously. You know, I'm very, when I'm either very, very like introverted or I'm very extroverted. It's one or the other. So, you know, I'm bubbly, I talk a mile a minute, you know, so it's like, when I'm there, right, I'm socializing, I've got a million opinions, this and that, da 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 da. I mean, there's so much about me that's so like outgoing and strong and boom, and independent, and I've had to take care of myself for a lot of years and whatever. So there's a lot of stuff about me. I'm not like a wallflower, right? If you're a wallflower, you're right. This would be probably an easier undertaking, because a wallflower, as soon as you look at them the wrong way, anyone looks at them the wrong way, they shut their mouths because they're scared they said something wrong, right? So, I mean, there's levels to this shit, obviously. That being said, whether you silence me or not, I'm not about to sit there and, cuss my man in public, right? That's what the drive home is for. Or if it's going to be bad enough, that's what inside is for, right? But I'm not doing that stuff in public. I've never in my life cussed someone in the grocery store, some of the crazy things you hear. But, I was more talking about holding a grudge, because I could hold a silence grudge for a real long time, real long. Like, you hurt my feelings. If you tell me I'm wrong and I'm wrong, I can get over it immediately. If you tell me I'm wrong and I was actually in the right, or I didn't do anything wrong, but you chastise me for something I didn't do wrong, man, I can hold on to that forever. I hope you like cooking, cleaning for yourself. I hope your Playboy selection is built up. Man, I hope you are good living on your own, because right now, that's what's about to happen, because I can hold on to that grudge, boy. So I'm just saying. More along that level. That's what the cussing. It's more like, oh yeah, really? No, you're gonna insult me that way? Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. It is absolutely fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
And you know what?
You sure you're okay? I'm fine. Everything's great. Yeah, high tone.
Yeah, but you know what? In that situation, the man still gotta be calm with it. It'd be like, oh, okay, she's gonna be this way. All right. I'm not going to let it upset me. I would do what I need to do to take care of it or whatever, but he still has control, because some men, you being like that, they're going to lose their damn minds or something, be all upset. I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, all right. We'll see. And with me, I say with me personally, it's like a person by person thing. There's no universal thing. Because you got to deal with whatever the woman is in her thing. Because I grew up around a lot of ladies, some volatile women, and in my family, some crazy cousins and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay. But with this one, I might have to do this. With this one, I might have to be more negotiable. With this one, I got to have a hard line. So it depends. But, But one of the things I would do, Ruby, in that situation, I'd just be like, all right, we're going to work this out before we even go to bed. And I'll be very smart. Very smart.
Very smart.
You got a problem. Look me in the eye and tell me what's up. We'll work that out.
Smart.
Because I will call myself on seeing something.
Let me give you Mr. Ruby's number. Hold on. Smartest answer ever. Yes, brother. Yes, brother. Yes.
That's what you got to do. It was like, look, a man is supposed, look, our nature is to have boundaries and stuff. You and our boundaries. So we need to make sure there's some peace there. So if there's a problem, it's like, oh, no, we're not going to be doing all this. We're going to sit down. We're going to look each other in the eye. We're going to work this out. Right. If we can't work it out, we're going to a third party to help us work it out. We're going to work it out, Smart. And that's the thing. And if it even get to the point where we say, okay, there's some real issues, we still going to be peaceful about it. Like I said earlier, there's been some women, talk with them and say, you know what, we're really not compatible on this level. It's been very peaceful. Peaceful breakups. Haven't had a violent breakup. Peaceful breakups, because you was like, no, we're going to solve it. I ain't going to sit here and put up with this. You talking about get the Playboy out, cooking? Go say, hold up. I might give you an hour of that to like calm down a bit. Then we'll sit down and talk. I'll say, okay, you get that energy out. Then when you calm enough, we're gonna sit down and figure this out. Because my thing as a man, I want to know. Well, let me finish. Hold up. As a man, I want to know what I did. Because if it's something I can control, then I can change it. And I don't mind if a woman tell me I was incorrect. I don't mind at all, because I want to know her perception, because I'm feeling if she sees something, she let me know, then when I go out in public, I won't exhibit that same behavior. I don't mind that. Like I said, I grew around some tough-minded women, tough love and stuff. So I don't mind a woman pointing out something. I learned to take it. I love it. In fact, I've had women tell me some stuff, and then I call them back later and say, thank you for letting me know. And then I moved on. But then that's because I ain't let it hurt me or anything. I stayed real calm. I didn't be like, oh, she said that. I was like, hold up. If she even said that, she saw something. Even if she's incorrect, I still want to know what it is, because it might be true. Because let's be real. As men, as human beings, you know, when we do something, we still know, or we at least have a little bit of an idea. So sometimes it's tough. I ain't gonna lie. It's
spit out the bones. Eat the meat and spit out the bones. She may not say it in the nicest way, but yeah, you just like, okay, well, all right, sis, I got you. You take it in. You may not like it. You know, nobody likes criticism. You know, I know I don't, but I have had to listen and hear some hard things about myself, and it takes a practice. I mean, in my 20s, you couldn't have told me no, it wasn't going to work. But you live and you learn. And my thing is that, you know, probability tells me that it's not always everybody else. I'm like, girl, look at yourself. What did you do? What could you have done differently? And accept your responsibility in this. And listen to what's being said to you. You may not like it, and it may be hard to hear, and you may say, that is not true. But just listen to it. You know, and just take it for what it is. And like I said, you know, eat the meat and spit out the bones, you know?
Exactly. Now, Ruby, you were about to say something. I had finished my statement. What were you about to say, sis?
Yes, I was just going to say that I'm actually exactly like you. See, my whole thing is, right, but I'm not going to try to make a man do anything. So if you decide you want to address it for a day or 3 days or 10 days, all right, cool. I guess we're not going to. But it's not going to be pretty in that meantime. But see, I'm like you. To me, I want to deal with things actually immediately. Like I don't want, right? The longer I have to wait to deal with an issue, the angrier I'm going to get about it. If we can deal, because I just want to like, listen, let's deal with it now. Whether I'm at fault, you're at fault, we're both at fault. It's a misunderstanding. Someone's confused. Like as soon as I see an issue, let's say, like I could see you're feeling off or whatever, I'll address it immediately. Like what's going on, or you know, whatever, or you know, like because to me that's the most efficient way of dealing with things. I feel like when you let it go 24 hours, you already just wasted 24 hours of your lives. Right now, not being in sync with each other. Like, why are you doing that? I'm not one of those people. I guess some people need time, or I'm not one of those people. And the more time I get, the angrier I get, the more upset I get, the more betrayed I feel, the more irrational. Honestly, I'm going to honestly say I get more irrational the longer you let me sit there and be angry. So it would be better for you to just deal with it right then in the moment. I will tell you all of it's, you know what, I think especially it's because of what you just said. I want to know, it was the smartest thing like ever. I want to know why you're angry. That honestly to me, I think is the insult that leads to injury the next day. So you don't even like, I know there's no way you don't think like I do. You don't know why I'm angry. So you don't even want to know why I'm angry before you go to sleep. You could just sleep all night and you don't even know why I'm angry. Or you're going to address me in 24, 48, 70, 72 hours and then tell me some shit and you don't even know why I'm angry yet? Boy, you better get that dead on when you tell me what you think the problem is, boy. Dead on.
I'm gonna tell you what. Look, I'm gonna tell you what. And this, like I said, I got some volatile female relatives, and I've been in some crazy neighborhoods growing up. I wouldn't want to go to sleep. It's like an old Eddie Murphy joke he did in one of his concert films. He said, yeah, he was slapping the woman around. Yeah, you did this and that. And he said the woman get real calm. I said, yeah, you're right. I was wrong and everything. You go to sleep now.
Hot grit.
Like, oh, hell no.
Hot grit.
No, I am not. No, I'm not closing my eyes if somebody's mad at me. No, we go first. If we can't work it out, I'll be like, well, I'll be out right now. I ain't sleeping in there. I
Now,
would not go to sleep. I know some vicious ass women. So I'm like, no, we gonna solve this.
It depends on the person, because for me, I prefer a cooling off period. In the height of the anger or the situation, sometimes it's just not good to get into it, because in my entire life, anything that I've ever done out of anger, it was never good. I never felt good about it. Didn't matter what the situation was, even if someone was being rude to me, like in a store or something. If I'm angry and I deal with that person, I'm just not happy with the way that the outcome of it. Now, when I've had a cooling off period and I've had time to think about it and calm down and remove myself out of the anger and look at the situation as a bystander, I'm so much better with it. And you don't always get that. You don't always get that opportunity to, have the cooling off period. But for me in my relationship, I would prefer a cooling off period. I'm going to say men don't always like the cooling off period, because when they're mad, they want to deal with it right now because they're angry. And I'm just like, we can talk about it tomorrow. Because my thing is, to be honest, I really don't hold grudges. Now, I'm not going to say I forget. I don't forget, but I really don't hold grudges, because sometimes I'll forget. What the hell was I? Wait a minute. What was I mad about? I'm supposed to still be mad. So I'm like, I don't do the grudges. So when it's done, it's done. But there are some things, after that cooling off period. Okay, so why did that happen? Can we talk about that? Why did that happen? I'm going to tell you why I got mad, but why were you so upset with me? Because I don't like someone having a discussion with me when they're angry. People are not very nice when they're angry. And, I don't like people being mad at me. So let's get past that. And then that could also be a problem if that person's not able to push that anger aside to have a civil conversation with you. That can be a problem too. So it just all depends. But like I said, I prefer a cooling off period. I don't want to talk to you when I'm angry, and I don't want you talking to me when I'm angry. I've never been in a situation where it was name calling, you B, you MFer. I don't do that. I do not do. We're not doing that, because with name calling comes a scar within you that you never forget, and you begin to resent and hate that person from that sort of anger. So my thing is, let it cool down, and I'm going to still have this love for you, and hopefully you still have the love for me, and we could talk about it tomorrow.
I'm going to mention something, a situation, then I'm going to ask Regina to speak, because she just joined the panel or been here for a minute.
Hey, Miss Regina.
Hey, love. Hey, y'all.
Hey,
Miss Regina. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. Hey. I am. Y'all keep going. I love the flow. Just keep going. I'm listening. I'm in listening mode.
Okay. I don't like the name calling. I just think that's just gone too far. And this one guy I had dated. We were together 10 years. And I think it had to be the first year. And he called himself angry at me about whatever. And he said the B word.
Ooh. No.
I put the brakes on. And I said, excuse me? You call me what? And I told him what one was. And I told him, I said, I don't have any children. I said, but your mother, she has 8 of them by 3 different men, and she only married one. I said, so if anyone might qualify as one, might be her.
Ooh. Not the mama.
And he never called me another one since. Never.
Charlotte elevated the yo mama joke. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with you, because honestly, it doesn't matter how mad I get. I'm very hard to derail from whatever it is I'm focused on. So if it's some topic, if it's the issue or whatever, it's very hard to derail me from whatever that thing is. I could be screaming it at the top of my lungs, but I am still talking about that thing. Right. So, but it's for me, it's always just been because it's a distraction, right? I don't like distractions or red herrings in discussions. I find them annoying and, inefficient. Like I actually do when I'm arguing with someone, even if it got heated, I actually want to resolve whatever we're arguing about. I want us to come to some type of peaceable resolution to this disagreement. So to me, throwing names or, insults or, disses or whatever, to me, that's just, you're going to get so far away from whatever you were talking about that at some point, you're now going to not even be mad about what you were originally mad about. You're going to be mad about all the insults that were thrown. True. And then even if you apologize for all the insults that were thrown, then when you do apologize about the original thing, it's going to be like a secondary thing and you never actually resolved that thing. So now that problem's never been resolved. It's going to come up again, or resentment's going to be held at least on one side about that thing. To me, it's such a distraction. It's something that you default into when either you're losing and you have no recourse because you're wrong, or when you don't have the words to properly express your position. Which in that case, if that's what you find, then yeah, I would say take Vonda's advice and take some time, because you might be just so angry that you can't find your words, or maybe you're someone who does better to write things down to organize your thoughts or something like that. If that's the case and that's what's happening, so you start insulting someone because you can't find the right words to express yourself right now, okay, take a minute then, because the worst thing you can do at that point, and I think very rarely can you even get away with it once without it. Eventually it's going to come up, or the feelings are just going to be slow resentment that builds over time to the point where, eventually it just damages everything. Like, you don't want to get caught in this trap of insulting each other, for sure.
Well, what happens is when you start with the name calling and the insults, then you start to lose trust for that person, because you know what, names hurt. Bad names hurt. And if you're being called a bad name by someone that you're in an intimate relationship with, and he just think, oh, you old skank bitch, sorry for the language, but he calls you something like that, and he's like, oh, I was just mad at you. You're like, wait a minute, let's talk about that. I mean, if you're just gonna get mad at me and you could just so easily call me something as low as that, it's gonna make me not trust you as much, because either you can't control your anger or you really think that about me. But if you really don't think that about me, and you know that those types of words would hurt me from you, now a stranger, I could care less. I care about what my man thinks about me. And if he's calling me names like that, that's going to hurt my feelings. And I don't want to one up him. Oh, well, you old. I don't want to have to do that, because if I can call him that, that's going to make me respect him even less.
Well, Vonda, I'm going to tell you, that word is just used too much. It's not even unique. So at least if you're going to call me a name, give me something unique. You just used that with probably the last woman. And I know that sounds strange, but at least think about it. Put some thought in it.
Fair. I actually appreciate that.
I would.
Yeah, like call me a diabolical whore or something. Just be original.
Stab you in the back, anything.
Because that's what you met me as. Call me Vonda, and I'm gonna call you Mr. Whatever your name is. I'm gonna call you that. I don't like that at all. I do not like that at all. And I was only in one relationship where I was called that name, and it was not a good relationship. It was a terrible relationship, and I'd never been in a relationship like that since. I don't do the name calling. I won't call you any names, and you bet not call me anything but Vonda.
Yeah, the guy that and you hush, Don Teasy, no comment in the peanut gallery.
Why are you gonna make his ears perk up? Now for sure he's listening.
He's gonna be on Char. He is going to be on her.
But yes, this guy I did stop seeing. That is correct. That called me a B, and now that relationship lasted, I think, maybe 3 weeks. He had called me one. He got angry because, well, I was young. I was 19. We're on someone's porch, and the kissing went too far. He was trying to go too far with him. I'm like, I got some respect about myself. He got angry, called me the B word,
Oh no.
and I'm like, well, all right. And that was the end of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure. If you tell a guy, hey, listen, this is where my limit's at for whatever reason, and his response is to call you a derogatory name, that should be the end of it, regardless. Like, I'm sorry, but a man like that, and I don't care what anyone else says about this, to me, a man like that is dangerous to you. Because his immediate response to you saying, nah, no more, should not be anger, disgrace, disgust, like to the point where he's going to verbally insult you out loud. Like, to me, that's scary. That's a scary sound. And even if he's sorry tomorrow, he just told you what he thinks about you saying no. What's going to happen the next time you do? That's the way I would see it. A man who said that it would only take one time, it wouldn't even have to be that word. It could be any word. But if you're going to react like that, I'm going to take that as a threat to my own personal safety. Because I know that next time I'm not going all the way just to keep you from, being angry about it or whatever. And I don't know what you're going to do. I don't think you should see it that way. Like somehow I owe you being able to get under my bra. I owe you getting into my pants. I owe you being able to sleep with me. And if I don't give it to you, then you're mad because you think you have a right to be mad about it. Nope. I wouldn't deal with a guy like that ever again. Very safe decision.
No, there's no trust there. You lose trust. And it's like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you not to call me that again when you loose Lily get angered about something that I do. I might sidestep the wrong way. Oh, you be? I'm like, oh no, no, I don't want to do that. Now I have been called, oh, B, because, if you don't talk to a guy, that actually has happened. You're being catcalled and you don't talk to the guy and he'll say, oh, well, F you, B. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't hurt me or bother me not one bit. That's like, okay, well, I just know not to go that way anymore. Or, that wouldn't be somebody I'd want to talk to in the first place. But when we're talking on an intimate level, somebody that can be that close to you and say something that nasty to you, it's like, I don't trust you anymore. I'm going to trust you even less. And if I call you a name, then I'm not going to even respect you. That's going to be less respect that I have for you. And to be honest, when you get caught up in that type of, dynamic, it hardly ever goes the other way. If you can't stop it in the very beginning, it's going to continue in that way. And I have absolutely no toleration for that. None whatsoever.
No, y'all taking the right thing. Because Char, when you were talking about, stopping it just at that kissing, a lot of men don't understand that women do have to be comfortable with a man. And a lot of guys need to work on that. I tell them that in my book. Get her comfortable first. And, whenever she feels good about it, you don't want to force anything because it's not going to be any good for you anyway. So make sure she's comfortable. If he was chill, no telling what might have happened later on when you were ready, So you did the right thing. And that's one thing I would tell ladies anyway. Don't allow yourself to be forced into any situations that you don't want. Never at all. Because then once he does that, then you have the problem and he's going to disrespect you. So you did the right thing, of course, but you sharp like that anyway. So I ain't surprised.
I think it's this, drunk culture, married with hoe culture that has spoiled some guys into not understanding this. Because I think in general, right? I mean, here, I know in America it might be a little bit further back, but here, if you just go back to my time being a teenager, so 20 years ago, this was not that hard of a concept. Like, it was a one in a blue moon guy who would have the, unmitigated nerve to be in front of you angry about you saying no. Right? Like that. I mean, because she would tell all her friends and no one would ever deal with you again. Right. Whereas in now, I think it's different, but it's different because we have hoe culture. And so hoe culture has made it acceptable for everyone to have sex all the time, constantly. Women now have, notches on their bedposts too, and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's this drunken hoe culture, right? So this idea that you can go to a club, meet a bunch of anonymous girls, you could have sex with 3 or 4 of them or whatever it is, don't know their names, no one wants to return your number anyway, Tinder, all these things, is spoiling people into thinking A, that all girls are like that, and B, that wife material, or a woman who is like, yeah, okay, I'm looking to seriously date and settle down and treat you right and all that good stuff, has the same standards and the same timeline as your drunken hookup at the club, which is obviously so false. And I mean, anyone could see that rationally doesn't line up. But when that's all you've done, from your teenage, younger teenage years, and now you're in your mid-20s, early 30s, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to settle down now. Your standards are still there. And it's like, no, you're just a different life now. It's a different lifestyle now. I mean, half of those times of those random hookups that you had with girls, they were either high or drunk, right? And this was a date with a nice girl who didn't request to get high or drunk. So hey, maybe she has slightly different standards about her, sleeping with, and you're not a hookup, right? I mean, you want to get to know her, right? This is why you're here. Hey. And if that was what you weren't looking for someone to date, then again, you got the Tinder, hey, looking for a hookup, or, the club, want to go to the bathroom real quick. I mean, there's right. You don't have to turn every girl into a hoe. There's a lot of them that are looking to do it right now. So just, yeah. I mean, I don't know about other people. I know for me, since I took things on the sexual side very, very slow, I was actually perfectly comfortable for a very long time in the beginning of my relationships for us to not be monogamous and for guys to hook up with other girls, because I wasn't willing to sleep with them. So, I wasn't willing to give them head. I wasn't willing to do all of that until we were monogamous and committed and and that wasn't going to happen until we knew each other really well, till we fell in love, till we go get tested. We were, comfortable talking about all those things and doing those things together. So, I mean, that's a thing. So because of that, I was actually okay with, the guys I was dating. Yeah, no, you're free to see other people. And by see, I really did mean sleep with other people, because, I don't know a lot of guys who are looking to have 5 or 6 emotional attachments, and that's the reason why. But, I and a lot of girls who were like me kind of thought along the same, I don't really care what you're doing until we're monogamous. So, if we're just dating to get to know each other right now, and I don't include sex as part of the getting to know you process, then hey, we're just dating. So sleep with whoever you want. But if you're going to choose to be monogamous with me, then we're going to have a discussion about what that means. And for me, it means sleeping with no one but me, right? So I guess that's the thing, though. Things were different. That's why I said here, about 20 years ago, things were very different than they are now, where, for people, they're like, I don't want to commit to this guy. What if I commit to him and then the sex is trash? Now I've already wasted this much time with him already. Or I don't want to marry him first as a virgin. What if the sex is trash? Now I have to have, trash sex for the rest of my life. Like, y'all don't really understand sex, first of all, do you? Because by and large, really getting to know someone, falling in love with this person, and then being really open with someone can make sex super amazing, because then you can communicate your likes and your dislikes, and you're both really invested in pleasing the other person. You're both super comfortable. These are all really important factors to make sex way better, especially for women. But I hear women now saying these things as well, which tells me, honestly, whenever I hear women say these things, I think to myself, like, oh my God, she's probably never really had great sex. She's probably never really had a great orgasm. She's just talking the talk because it sounds good, because that's we're all supposed to be the same as guys now, right? Sexual liberation, which to me has not liberated women from anything. But like at all. But sorry, I know we're getting like so off track now from our gentleman's request.
Just go with the flow. You need to say it.
Ruby, I have to be that other side on the other shoulder.
I know, Vonda. Bring
Okay.
it to me. Sock it to me, girl.
It's never talking it to you. It's just, that's why I love the way that you think. I mean, because the way that you think is so different from the way that I think, but I can respect it, and I enjoy hearing your opinions. Now, for me, if there is a man out there who wants to court me, he wants to be in a relationship with me, he's interested in me, I think that if we're going to, make a decision to do that, I personally don't want him sleeping with other women while he's trying to, court me. And I should not be sleeping with other men while I'm trying to court him. And I don't know if that's putting too many restraints, and on a large scale, I don't know if, that's, how men are wired or how they think like that. But my thing is that if, we're trying to, like date each other and we're both, having intimate moments with other people, how do we build and how do we come together? When do we get to the point where we're like, I just want to be with you? Is it like, okay, I did all these guys over here, and yeah, I done, banged out all these chicks over here. You know what? Yeah, let's go on and get together now. Let's make this real. I I don't want to do that. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. My thing is that, I don't have a problem with, not dating, other men, if I'm trying to date one specific man. If I'm interested in this guy and, I want to date him and, he's like, woo, I think she's great, I want to date her. I don't think I would very well appreciate, him, bumping pelvises with the whole gang of other chicks, whether I knew it or not. I mean, I
get it. I get what you're saying.
The day I don't want to know it, but but I think that, if we're trying to feel each other out and see what it's like, there's nothing wrong with putting your body on stop, to see what this is about. If you feel it's worthy, if you feel like,
for how long,
but you know what? And that's the key question. I say anywhere from 6 to 12 months,
So you would be, okay, not only would you be willing, but you think in general, the general man would be willing to put his body entirely on hold for 6 to 12 months while he got to know you.
And that's what I said. I don't know that that's really the case, that that's how men think, but that's what I would require. That's what I would require. I would expect that. But I would have to say that that's what I would want, And I would guess if he's not doing that he is, he's using discretion. He's, being, clean with himself, that sort of thing, because you don't know what another person is doing. But if he is out there, laying it low and spreading it wide, then hopefully he's being, safe with it. And he's not, running through the whole town and, I'm, bumping into chicks that, he's, banging out, but not dating. He's just banging them out. So I'm like, yeah.
See, to me, honesty is more important than the appearance of fidelity. And I mean, honestly, honesty is more important to me than fidelity overall, but it's definitely more important than the appearance of fidelity. And I have always found myself to be a realist. And so as a realist, right, I've always said, especially if I'm saying, listen, I'm not committed enough to you to call you my boyfriend, or I'm not willing to say that, and neither are you. You're not willing to call me your girlfriend. I don't know you well enough to call you like that, bring you home for Christmas and stuff. We've only been dating for like a couple months. Like, yo, slow down, dude. If that's the way I'm thinking about you at that point, then to me, first of all, I feel like I have no claims over you. But second of all, let's say, even if we get to that place, right, where it's like, all right, I'm feeling you, whatever, right? To me, I feel like for me, without the commitment, right, without the monogamous relationship, right, and without the being in love, you know, without all of that trust and knowledge of each other and, you know, bonding built up, I'm not going to have sex with you. For me, part of trust is honesty. So it's not fidelity, it's honesty. And so if you're going to be honest, not just about your intentions with me, but with other people, and you're willing to be open and honest in general about what you're doing, what you're not doing, that's actually going to go very far with me overall. And so the way I see it is that since I am the type of person, I am the type of person where if I'm going to date someone, I'm dating one person. Like literally, if I'm only dating someone for 3 weeks, I'm only dating one person for 3 weeks. Like I've never really been good at multitasking. I can barely be bothered to talk to like one friend or family member per day, like one. So like I'm definitely not dating multiple guys at a time. So, but I put all my focus on one person at a time. I'm good with that. I'm good with investing 6 months, 8 months, a year of my life to figure out whether or not you're worth really hunkering down with. I'm willing to do that. I'm good with that. And I'm also not willing to open my legs until all of that's been settled. That's good for me. I'm happy with that. You know, and I'm happy with you being an open, honest, trustworthy person. And I don't attach fidelity to trustworthiness as long as you're being open and honest about it. So I guess because those are my terms, it's okay with me. Now, with like I said, if you want to sleep with me, though, if this is going to go somewhere, then you also have to be the kind of person that monogamy in a relationship, or at least, you know, the intentional monogamy. That is to say that I would prefer honesty over fidelity. So I don't want someone lying to me just because I will never find out about it if they screw up one time. I would rather you tell me. If you volunteer the information to me, I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'm not going to leave you, right? So and I know that a lot of people are different than me on that level too, right? Like if someone cheats on them, that's it, they're gone. I prefer the openness and honesty. Don't let me find out from someone else, right? Don't let it be some ongoing affair and then I find out from someone else, even worse. But you know, if you volunteer information to me, right, all I ask you to do is be open and honest with me, because now we have an opportunity to talk about it, right? Why did this happen? What's going on between us that this happened? Right? And is that something that's fixable in the future so that way it doesn't happen again? Is it just a matter of you know what, you're not feeling the monogamy thing? You're not feeling me the same way? Is it because we've been fighting a lot lately? It's because our sex game fell off? What's going on between us that this happened? Right? Is, you know, really bad, you know, choice of friend support when you're out? I don't know, whatever it is, right? And so I look at a variety of factors, but it all comes down to me, I can't figure out whether you're an, you know, open, honest kind of person in a couple months or in a few months. So I'm not willing to sleep with you in 2 months. I'm just not, right? That's going to take time for me to figure out a bunch of different interactions, a little bit of pressure and stress sometimes, you know, in relationships, arguments, stuff like that needs to happen for me to see, how do you handle yourself under pressure? How do you handle yourself, you know, when things go wrong? How do you handle me? How do you handle the truth? You know, all those things are going to play into my, yeah, I want to, you know what? Yeah, I could see forever with you. Let's go forward with this. And because I trust you, yeah, I'm willing to open my legs. So let's go do the testing thing and monogamy and the whole nine. And in the meantime, as man, if you don't attach that much emotionality to sex, but you know what? You do need to get your rocks off at least like goddamn once a month or something. And you know, I'm getting you all hot and bothered and not helping you get it off. And you want to go scratch that itch. If you're honest about it, I don't really care.
Well, he can scratch it with himself, Ruby. He doesn't need any help to scratch that itch. He can, you know, scratch it with himself. If he's dealing with me, you know, I just feel you know, he should be serious about the relationship. My thing is that, you know, we spend, you know, some time talking on the phone and, you know, we're like, you know, not having sex, but we're talking and have this great conversation. And he goes and falls into bed with, you know, some other chick right after he gets off the phone with me. No, you broke your concentration. You know, you need to be concentrated on this relationship and taking it somewhere, you know, scratch your itch elsewhere, you know?
Well, that's exactly what I said. Scratch your ish elsewhere, because I'm not about to scratch it for you.
Yeah, if I'm not scratching it for you, you have two hands. You can scratch it yourself. You don't need additional, help.
Hello.
Greetings, DeAndre. Welcome.
Hey.
Hey, Ron and Ruby, Ron, Shar,
Hey, what's up?
Greetings.
Judy. Did we have all the PC answers? Can I break out the spirit of petty?
Got 30 minutes. Get on into it.
Okay, so I'm just wanted to say, I hope you ladies are talking about this during cuffing season. So we got all the time in the world during cuffing season for this 2 to 3 months, and that's great. That's outstanding. I hope you're not talking about spring and summer, because them dresses be popping. I hope we're already into this relationship thing prior to cuffing season. We Amazon delivering it, it's in the mail. Like we have to understand that. I hope you understand that while we're dealing with this, working up to this relationship, because we're not in a relationship yet until we consummate the relationship with horizontal exercise.
Oh, God.
See? Realism, Vonda. Realism.
I'm being real. You're not my girl. Listen, you're not my wife until we consummate the marriage. We can say the I do's, but until we have the physical thing in the honeymoon part, you know what I'm saying? That's when you consummate the marriage. That's what they used to say back in the day. They used to have witnesses in the bed chambers to see y'all have sex when you would get married. That's consummating the marriage.
Wait, can I add something real quick? It's actually on the annulment papers to this day, at least in Canada. It's on the annulment papers. A valid reason to annul a marriage is that you didn't consummate it. I'm just saying. Erase it like it didn't exist because you didn't consummate it. Just saying.
And consummation is actually horizontal exercise. So I would like to say a couple of things so you can understand and put this man in his place. One, he shall not be over your apartment or you over his apartment after 10 p.m. That is one. Two, do not leave landmines over his house, such as feminine products, hairbrushes, toothbrushes, and hair. So other women can find these things. You do not claim said man unless you're willing to put in the horizontal exercise. While non-cuffing season is upon us. This is between the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. All right. Now, with this being said, if you're not giving up the goods and you want him not to put the pressure on you, do not get mad if he has someone else releasing said pressure for him. Now, even though prostitution is not legal, and I'm all about legalized prostitution, because this would actually separate and not put as much pressure on you wonderful ladies up here on the panel. But since porn is regularly free, and there are women that are willing to do the horizontal exercise with less time, we have to be realistic in this matter. And the longer a man lives, the easier it is. Well, not according to certain people in certain spaces, but the easier it is for him to acquire and understand the tool that is needed to unlock the chastity belt of, say, the draws. I'm just letting you know, just understanding, if I really like a woman, I'll give her all the time she needs. But guess what? We got stuff to do. And the penis is not going to suck itself. So, I'm just letting you know, I just wanted to be the voice of reason. I wanted to give you the PC, but the real version of how men actually think. So nobody gets this misconstrued, and understand that if you're going to put me on a time clock and I have to meet all these check boxes just to get it, and God forbid it's trash. Ooh, if it's trash.
Oh my God, you're giving me a headache, Dre.
Listen. If you are thirsty and dehydrated in the desert, camel piss tastes great. But once you're hydrated and you drink that again, you're going to be angry. So I'm just letting you know there's this thing where you have to be understanding, because we have to be adults here. And within 2 months, you will figure out if this person is who they are or what they are or whatever, right? And
no way.
Well, I'm like, you'll understand to a certain degree that should I decide to give it up, should I not?
2 months?
Worth it? No, like you'll understand should you even push it into that area. And what I mean by this is working towards it. I'm not saying fully give it up. If you're not like your hope, and that's your prerogative to do that. But if you're talking to this person and you're feeling this, this thing, and y'all are, feeling these feelings with each other, then let's both be adults and not put each other in certain situations where the guy is going home with the dry D, right? That means he's over the house, y'all watching y'all Netflix and chilling, and then we know what happens after Netflix and chilling. And then, it gets a little later, and you're in your little scruffies, and he's feeling and rubbing and this and kissing. Oh, let's not do this. I'm not ready. Don't even take it to that. Let's just keep it a buck, keep it where it's at, let everything know. And then when it comes time where he's met the burden of performance, you have to initiate what's going to happen, right? Because that holds more weight. When a woman told me that she felt as though that she wanted to wait to get to know me, I respected that. But once we went through whatever, I didn't put any pressure on her or try to keep pushing it on her, because what I started doing was, after time, I'm like, all right, well, I'm spending all this time, I'm giving you all of this attention, and we're past that. But okay, we need to consummate this with some physical interactions, because men are not that, we're physical more than emotional. So if I'm digging up all this emotion and I'm pouring this out and you're just siphoning this off from me, right? I'm gonna need some compensation. We need some, you can't get all of this attention and good morning Texas and how you doing, and I'm listening about Karen, Chad, and Bill and pissing you off at work and yada yada and squalor. We doing all this phone kicking it, and I'm sprinkling all this money and spreading it.
You build, Dre. You're building.
You know what I'm building? I'm building something that needs to be released and yeah, listen, Vonda. Women, like a lot of women want us to build. Men love to build, but we like to see progress. If I'm going to build a car, I see the frame, I see the engine, I see the electronics going, I see something.
You see the frame when you come visit her? You can see the frame.
Yeah, I saw it. That's why I'm visiting. I see it. I saw it. I see it. Now I'm giving, and we're going out. We're going to coffee. We're eating dinner. You're meeting some of my friends. I'm meeting your friends. I understand your schedule. You understand mine. I'm up here watching these women movies. I don't like them. I'm just doing it so I can get the draws. Look, we need to consummate this. I'm doing the time. So what I want from you is for you to say, hey, you're home? Yes, I want to come by. Sure. Open the door. You got a trench coat on with nothing under it. Yes, please come in right here. Push me on the floor. Let's get it. Let's come. Man, we want CSI to come through here with a black light and see all types of bodily fluids all over the place because you made me wait this long, right? And then we do it as adults, and that's what it is, right?
But wait, I gotta be clear about something because in that time, right, that, you know, like say that 6 to 8 months or whatever I talk about, that time is not spent being completely asexual with this person. Because if, for example, so we're not kissing, we're not gonna make out, like the way I see relationships and, you know, the getting to, so the initial getting to know you, you know, maybe it's a few dates and then, you know, there's like a kiss goodnight kind of thing, you know, then, you know, you get a little bit further along and then maybe it's a hot and heavy kissing session that starts up, and, you know, and then you're kind of there for a bit. And to me, like, things kind of naturally progress, but you are aware every step along this way that there's a no-go zone. So we are never ever going there. No matter how far we go in this session, we're not going there. How far can we go in this session? I don't know. Will I be comfortable with you reaching under my bra today? I don't know. I might be, but you will never know if you don't try. But what I can guarantee you is that no matter how comfortable I might be with it, you are not having sex with me. Right? And so, because I mean, if you're not having the physical intimacy, right? I mean, at least for me, if you're not having any form of physical intimacy, whatever spark you have at the beginning from, you know, just looking at this guy or just kissing this guy, it is eventually going to fizzle out because you aren't stoking that fire in any way. You aren't maintaining any form of physical bond to help strengthen the emotional bond you're building. So, you know, you do need some of that after that. You know, you actually watch the movie that you guys are both waiting to watch. There's some makeup time, you know, so you put on another movie both of you already seen so you can make out a little bit, right? I think old school making out is a good thing. I say it on the radio show all the time. I think we need to go back to that a little bit, you know, reset our brains a little bit. Like, it's not like, hey, I don't know anything about you, your body, your this, your that, your likes, your dislikes, but hi, this is my first name. Don't even know your last name, but I'm just gonna open my legs. Like, no, you're supposed to build up to that type of stuff over time. Like, you know, maybe some people are more comfortable doing it faster. I get it, but to me, like, I don't understand how you can have, you know, a truly enjoyable, you know, I don't know, like say head session if you haven't figured out how, I don't know, how my lips like to be kissed or like how my nipples like to be touched. I don't know. I just, you know.
I'm gonna say this, right? And like a man that was smarter than me but dumber than God, he explained it, right? Some women are like those old 75 Ponyvilles that is in the winter where you got to go out there and you got to warm them up before you drive them, or they ain't going to start up when you need them. And then some women will push buttons. You know what I'm saying? You just hit the button, hit the car, and you just drive off, right? Every woman is different. And as a man, you need to be in tune, right? But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm going to try today. Okay, I failed. I'm going to try tomorrow. I failed. Okay, I can go here and do this, but then this is this. Okay, it's like we keep taking the football when I'm kicking it, Charlie Brown, right? And that's
don't even say it.
like it's like we're getting older. We're getting to the point where I understand the old school way of doing things, right? And this is for the younger generation because they're probably watching in the clouds, right? Because I got a wife, whatever, and just TMI. First night I met my wife, I smashed. We still together, 17 years. But if you say on a spectrum of consistency of would that actually last with other people doing it, I would say 10%. That
not even.
Yeah, not even, and I'm being nice. Nice, right? That's not a thing that I would say you should go, hey, shit, DeAndre said it, I can do it. You're not DeAndre and you're not Penny. So you can't do what I do, right? But I wouldn't say that everybody should do it. I say you should work upon your speed and who you're with. And most people, they deal with things differently, but that's that whole getting to know someone. And I tell men straight up, I tell a lot of guys, look, when you see a pretty woman and you want to go out with her, don't get mad if she ain't running up to you with a gun and holding you up and taking money out of your pocket. Start slow. Hey, would you like a cup of coffee? I know cups of coffee now are like $5 a piece at Starbucks, but have a conversation with her. Get past the beauty and see who she is here mentally, right? The first thing I want to know, if a woman's too pretty and she ain't got nobody, what's wrong with her? Like it's like something that's really good. Why are you on sale for half price? Like, what's wrong with it? Like, why is it a newer model coming up? Like, what's going on with you? Why are you so successful, blase, blah, and you don't have any kids, you don't have this, you're over a certain age? What is internally or what is wrong with you that you can't keep someone? And maybe it's not you, maybe it's the guys you dealt with. Let me figure it out, but let us have a conversation. And I think a lot of this is missing with the art of conversation and speaking.
Exactly. If you go straight into, the sex, I mean, then you don't ever, a lot of times you don't get a chance to get to those other parts. And that's what I'm saying. The beauty of a relationship is actually peeling back those layers and getting to know that person, without involving, necessarily putting sex in the mix with it. Because when you throw sex into it, it throws a whole different dimension, onto it. It really does. I mean, what do you think about like long distance relationships? It's easier to not have sex when you're long distance.
It's definitely easier to smash others long distance too.
I was in the Navy. Look, long distance relationships work until the person gets back in distance, because both people that was long distance was smashing somebody within distance. Like, that's how long distance relationships work. Like, and I'm not saying all, but majority of them work like this. If you're in a long distance relationship, man or woman, you have to understand that the person that's long distance, if they're busy, and when I mean busy, like they got a job, they got a career, they're just on the run over and over again, and they have to be gone because of their job or whatever, and they're coming back. And the person that doesn't have that, you have to put it in your mindset to say, you know what? There needs to be a side person to keep this person occupied until I come back, and you have to be good with that. You have to understand that that can be a possibility and a part of the long distance relationship, because even in short distance, people are dealing with other folk. You know what I'm saying? So a long distance relationship, you're not sexually engaged with each other by force, right? It's like you're forced into a relationship, a sexual relationship incel type of deal. You're like, that's because y'all decided to deal with this. And that's something you're just going to have to deal with. Some people, they deal with each other better when they're on two separate spectrums. Like, they can only deal with each other in doses because of their personality. They can't, and it's like we love each other, but we can only be around each other up until the honeymoon period of the relationship is over, and then we have to separate and then come back together. And I see this a lot, and I'm just speaking from military experience. I see this a lot. I see a lot of guys married to their women for how long they were attached to a ship, and the second they go on shore, they getting divorced 6 months into it, because right when they got to the part of the relationship, that's the test. Because, and this is when things change in a relationship. It's after the sex part. After the sex period, that's when the relationship changes.
Yeah, that's true.
That's when you get into
never
that.
Never go back to that moment.
No. It's that high you will never reach. Like you done plateaued, and that's when you know that the relationship, if you did the relationship right, because relationships take work, people are lazy.
Takes work.
It takes work. It takes work. Look, I'm petty. I realized at a young age that I was going to be alone for the rest of my life, because I am petty. I'm a petty dude. Look, for whatever reason, and the universe aligned itself that I found the only person I think on the face of the planet that could be married to me as long as she has been. Right? Because
yeah, right.
I'm straight up with that. And you know, she puts up with me and I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you as a person have to understand who you are, what you are. Then you have to make a lot of concessions for another person. And they have to do the same thing. And it's never 50-50 in a relationship. It's 100 or over that percent. Whatever you're not doing physically, you have to make up for that on another end of the spectrum. And you have to evolve and grow. And what you was good with when you were younger isn't necessarily what you're going to be good with when you get older. And what you are good with when you were older was something that you wasn't ever good with when you were younger. And you got to be with someone that's going to be able to grow with you. And in this state of instant gratification, or how everything's being pushed, when everything's instant right now, the younger generation or my generation basically, because we're in this weird conflict. We remember when you had to send a letter to somebody. Now we done graduated to DMs. Like people don't even talk on the phone. People,
right.
You know, and you had a phone to talk to somebody. You know, I remember call waiting in 3-way and you know, just calling to the next county was long distance. Like, you know, just you know, falling asleep on the phone. You can't wait to see the person. You had to page somebody, and they had to have quarters in the pocket to call the person back. To now, people won't answer a phone call, but they'll reply to a text. Or they'll pull
me.
They'll pull down a notification on the screen just so they can read your text, but not show that it was read by you.
Yes,
right.
Also like, me.
Like, you know, like I know people in the chat like, man, don't be giving away the secret. But
I hate. That's why I hate when people send multiple messages, right? Because then it screws up you being able to read any of them in full. So you have no choice but to open the shit to read all of it. That's why I don't use any. I do not use WhatsApp. I don't use anything except for Facebook, and only on occasion now that will alert someone else to the fact that I looked at your message, because I may read it and not feel like answering it now, or more importantly, you might not want me to answer it now. Okay, because I have sunny disposition, Ruby. Like I said, I'm either introverted or extroverted. There is no in between, and you do not want to force introverted Ruby to communicate with you. Because remember that thing I told you all about earlier. I don't cuss people. I don't yell and scream at you, right? I don't call you names, but I will make you feel so disgusting. Like I will make you want to kill yourself. And I didn't even tell you to go kill yourself. I answered your question, but the way I answered it, like, why do you have to talk to people like that? I don't mean to. I don't mean to. So just let me answer you on my time. But if you see I answered, now you're going to get in your feelings. You're going to say something. You saw the message. Is everything okay? Now you're forcing me to answer. So now I'm going to answer you. You're not going to like my answer. Okay? You're not going to like it. Don't do it. Just don't. Just my mom learned this. My mom learned this the hard way, right? Because one time I tried to teach her in every other way possible. One time I even cut her off for like 6 months over trying to force me answering her. And then one day I said, okay, you know what? Even that 6-month thing didn't work. Okay, cool. I'm going to answer you one day when I don't feel like it. And so I'm going to pick up the phone, even worse, because she likes to call me down. She'll start calling me at 8 o'clock in the morning, because that's reasonable. And then call me every 10 minutes until 1 o'clock in the afternoon and go, are you dying? No, I'm not dying. You know, I just don't wake up until the afternoon. I'm not even awake right now. Why are you calling me like this? I had a dream last night. Like that. That's what she'll do, right? It's never anything important. So the one time I said, okay, fine, I'm going to answer you. I answered that phone and I answered her. I didn't cuss her. I didn't call her any names. She never did it again. Never did it again. Never. Right. But see, that's the thing. As you said, DeAndre, right? You're ignorant. I'm ignorant. You have to know yourself. Like we were talking about that self-inventory earlier. Know thyself. Understand what you might be drawing into you or not, right? But know yourself and know what's personality, what's dysfunction. And I think part of, you know, I think a lot of people want to believe rosy things about themselves and about others, you know, and it's not a great thing to believe rosy things about yourself that aren't true. I think it's worse to believe rosy things about others or about, you know, relationships or whatever that aren't true, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You're going into something, and then, you know, like let's say with the long distance scenario, or in the Navy scenario, or, you know, just you know, waiting a long time scenario, you've set yourself up for disappointment by not understanding the man in front of you, giving him standards nobody could possibly reach, and then forcing him to lie to you. Right. So then when it eventually comes out that he lies to you, right, 20 years from now, you find out, well, you know what, he slept with a few girls during that, you know, period of time, but you stayed together for 20 years. You're happy as hell. And then you find out, well, he did sleep with a few girls. Are you going to feel like the whole relationship was based on a lie for no good reason? You know what I mean? Like, I think we have to be a little bit, you know, more reasonable with kind of understanding ourselves and like other people. And like, just because I have a superhuman ability to, you know, go without any form of, you know, sexual interaction for years, doesn't mean that that's normal, right? Like, what's the average, I think, normal thing for humans? I think maybe we should go by that standard when we're building our standards, and not like what's extra special, you know?
It's normal for the given person because everybody is different. But I do have a question for you, Mr. Dre.
Oh, what's
okay. So, okay.
She's gonna get you.
No, I'm just curious. This is, you know, I'm just curious. This is a really innocent question.
Okay.
So, you know, you're dating, you know, this chick, and you know, she's like, "Hey, no, I'm not ready now." And you're like, "Oh, okay, fine. You ain't ready." And so you say, "Well, you need that horizontal exercise, you know, but you know, you're courting her, you know, she's allowing you to court her. Y'all spending time, you know, like you said, buying dinners and Starbucks and getting to know each other, you know. So my thing is, you know, with that, so would you be willing to buy that cow if you knew that she was giving her milk out for free to other dudes?
Well, see, that's the thing right there, right? And this is where it got a lot of guys, they start whining and complaining and throwing chairs and stuff like this. The second that, like, if we get to that point where she invites me up and it's past a certain time, because and this is the thing that I learned myself, I will excuse myself if I know something's not going anywhere, or I will give her the option of excusing herself, and I will say, "Hey, it's 10 o'clock." You know what I'm saying? Because nothing happens after the 10 o'clock news but people having sex or going to sleep. And I can sleep by myself. So you know, like, let me get you home, or I'll excuse myself and say I got to go to work or whatever if I know this isn't going anywhere. Now, if she tells me after we get into a session, "Oh, we can wait," or whatever, then what I'll do at that point in time is I will put her in a different part. She goes on the back burner. She goes into, I will get to you when I need to get to you, when I'm not busy dealing with all of these other cows that I can milk, right? You will go over here, right? You are cuffing season, chick. Since you want to wait that long, I will let you wait until cuffing season, right? And when you because the only reason you can make me wait that long, other than if you're a Ruby or a Vonda or a Char, is because you got other dudes that you're dealing with. Like, this is just what it is.
So that is a deal breaker. If she's, you know, dealing with other dudes, it's like, I'm not going to wait for this.
No, it's not a deal breaker for men. I'm explaining to you. Men won't tell you this. It's not a deal breaker for men, because you know what's better than getting a woman that you like is getting a woman that another man's got. Like, that's like on some psychological conquering stuff, right? If this, like, I don't want a woman that another man don't want. So if she can put me on the burner, that means I'm not competing with her standards. I'm competing with other men, right? I will come up to the challenge. So how do I deal with her? Well, I take away the very thing that she's getting enough of. And that is, you're going to get my attention when I feel like giving you the attention. And usually that attention comes from in a different manner or a different way. Right? So let me give it to you like this real quick. If she's getting told she's beautiful, she's nice, she's this, she's that, and everything else, then what I do is I come in and I try to break it down to a different way. I'll be funny and I say, well, yeah, they saying that's beautiful and nice, but them shoes don't go together. Like, I'll make her second guess everything, but it's something that she hasn't heard because her ears is fatigued from hearing all of the sucking up. I'll treat her in a respectful but different way than everybody else is, but I'll put her on the back burner because my pride is still in play. Well, if I was good enough for me and you to get to that point, but you giving your milk away for free to old who, I'm going to have to be petty and teach you a lesson because they ain't going to be around a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be here. And then when I get a hold of the goods, and the goods better be good, because if it's not a wrap and it's a dap, it's dry, oh, buddy, we gonna have a problem, and I'm gonna teach you a valuable lesson about life. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you have to understand who you're dealing with, and if you're talking to the woman, you can you will know if a woman has other dudes running around or around her airspace, or who she really wants, or if she's just using you as a stopgap method. If she's jumping out of another relationship or something, or whatever the situation may be, or you just don't meet her criteria and you may never get anything. You may never get to that point. You're just a good friend, right? You're in the friend zone and you don't even know. She just haven't decided about it. So you just, it's up to you to disengage as a dude. Like, it is what it is. Like, nobody's forcing people to deal with it. And, and these are not 100%, things. Like, I've crashed and burnt on chicks and moved on, and we've been still cool and whatever, and yes, do I relish when they get on, like they got on, like, This Is Black Planet, and or back in the day, and they start crying about some dude that they really wanted to be with and he hurt their feelings. Was I said, yes, gotcha, bitch, yes. Yeah, was I doing that? Yes, I was. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know if I didn't, but it's not a deal breaker because we're not in a relationship. Like you said, we're courting. The consummation of the relationship is the horizontal exercise. If people treat that the same way that they would treat a marriage in certain points, then we wouldn't be in certain situations that we have been dealing with folks. And this is just my pragmatic way of dealing with things. Because even if you're married to someone or in a relationship, she can wake up today or tomorrow and decide she don't want to be with you. And you just got to deal with that. You just have to deal with that. You can do everything you can for somebody. You can give them your heart, your soul, or whatever, and they can still run off and do whatever they want to do. Because guess what? They got the free choice to do so. That's what it is. And you can blame yourself. You can blame policy, society, or whatever. But at the end of the day, pick yourself up off the floor, move the hell on. Don't run them over with a car. Don't hit them with the bumper. Don't stab them. Don't shoot her. Don't beat her in the face with an iron. These are things that happen. But just move on, deal with the hurt, and learn from the experience. And you just got to learn to keep a little bit of yourself to yourself. And this is me being in a 17-year relationship, 12-year marriage with my wife. We find out new stuff about each other every day because we learned in a relationship, if you give someone 100% of yourself, internally, all your secrets, all your things, all at one time, just in the beginning, then what do you have for them to cherish later on? Nothing. You still got to keep stuff in pocket. Still got to keep stuff. There's certain things my wife don't know about me. And over time, she may and she may not. It is what it is.
Okay.
I am so the opposite of that. Like, I bare my soul because I want you to know what you're dealing with, right? I don't want anything to surprise you, shake you, be like, oh, I didn't think that about you. No. I'll put it all out there, and then there you go. Now there's no demons, there's no skeletons, and whatever, and from there you can decide. But I do want to ask one more quick question because since we asking questions now. So no, because when we're talking about that whole, I guess, fidelity thing now, I guess, and I understand Vonda's point or Vonda's question, right? But I guess my whole thing is like, if you're not giving someone, everyone needs 100%. If you're not willing to give them 100% or unable, I feel like your gift to them is them being able to get it somewhere else without that being the end of things. But okay. So now the question is, how do you know, right? I mean, short of gossip, how do you know that this chick is a Vonda or Shar or Ruby and not, giving it to someone else? You just maybe someone you don't know from a different district or something you don't know. How do you judge that, really?
You just gotta be able to read the woman. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's all I mean, from my perspective. Brother DeAndre may see it differently, but you've got to be able to read it. I can, some of y'all give off some signals what y'all doing. I mean, one way or the other. So, and I just wanted to say, maybe I'm looking at it because I was real quiet during all this. I don't have a concept of waiting 6 to 12 months to get with any woman. 6 to 12 days, maybe, but not 6 to 12 months, to be honest with you. So, but that's just me.
Oh, I mean, that's fair. I mean, I'm a serial monogamist. Every relationship I had was, 5 years minimum. And, I just kind of, I don't stay single for that long, like the Clumsy song. But, yeah, they had to wait. That's just what it is. But that's how I am sexually. Like, it's not like in between those relationships, I was a big old hoe. So no, I was always, to me, like, and I mean, I think another thing too, right, is that towards the end of my generation in high school started this whole thing where like giving head stopped being such a big deal, which to us it was a huge deal. You were a dirty hoe if you gave your boyfriend head, right? Like, it's just only hoes give head. So, and then it started being this thing where like it was less of a big deal than having sex. So that it was a thing you could do. If you weren't ready to give up your virginity, you could give someone head. Whereas to me, I saw the importance, honestly, the flipped. Whereas I would be willing to sleep with a boyfriend before I was willing to give him head. So, I mean, different strokes for different folks, but, I understand. I understand your point to that, I just think that it depends on who you are, what your priorities are, what you're looking for. And I mean, that's going to sync up with the person you're with, right? So, for you as a man, you're like 6 to 12 days maximum. Well, DeAndre, I don't think he would be waiting no 6 months either, but
no, absolutely not.
6 months is like 6 years. 6 months is not a long time.
It really isn't, no. But
I still don't have a concept of that. I'm a little bit more wilder than I've let on publicly. So just even to this age, believe it or not. So, like I said, sometimes I gotta slow the woman down. I say, oh, come on, let's wait 24 hours.
Let's wait 24 hours.
Yeah. So yeah. Like I said, YouTube, there's a lot of stuff I don't talk. I talk about more in private because I get in. I mean, stuff like tantra and stuff like that. So it's a different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to definitely thank you for joining us tonight and giving your insight, and hopefully the writer of the letter will enjoy your take on it as well. So, and
that dude just better get his, he just need to get his energy up, his manhood up and everything, because he's sounding very passive and everything. And that's not any good for a man in this culture. A man has to be sovereign. He has to stand up for who he is, or he'll just run into another woman with the same thing. Because one thing, if he's having that trouble with her, he hasn't learned the lesson. The universe, the way it is, will send him a tougher woman. And then he still don't listen or figure it out, then a tougher woman after that till he figures it out. That's one thing. People will get, they will go through the same thing until keep going in circles until they figure, hey, let me do something different. Then they break out of the circle. So
passive is not good in any culture for a man, for the record.
no,
I don't think wishy-washy men are attractive across the globe. Just saying. All right.
Yeah, the dude just need to get his energy up and just stand up for who he is and just be that man. He got to be a man. Forget player or any other word. Be a man. So that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining the panel. Thank you for your participation. I appreciate it. Audience.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Char. Thank you very much. It
Thank
was
you
great.
for having me on here. Thank you.
Always.
Appreciate you, sister. Appreciate you.
And you guys can check.
Char.
Well, thank you. Much love to you. I love you too. In the chat room, comment section rather, I have all of Ram's information, so you can reach out to him. He has books because he is an author. Everyone, lots of books, and his YouTube channels. So check them out, and hopefully we'll have him back soon.
Oh,
and
anytime, sis. Anytime.
Thank you. And don't forget tomorrow, guys, article reaction, 6:30 p.m. And we will watch the commercial on the way out. And hope to see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Cheers, y'all.
Hey, folks, it's your nighttime, it's your right time DJ Music. Make sure you join Char Willie each and every Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, for article reaction, right here on your local YouTube channel. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to Article Reaction.